The sleek Galactic archaeological research vessel hung in space like a crystalline needle, its obsidian blue hull reflecting the distant starlight. Dr. Elena Rodriguez adjusted the multispectral scanner, her fingers dancing across holographic controls with practiced precision. The blue-green planet below seemed to shimmer with an almost ethereal quality, a world that most galactic civilizations had long since written off as a cosmic footnote. 12 standard years of academic battles had led her to this moment. Countless grant proposals, endless debates with skeptical research committees, whispers and outright mockery from colleagues who believed studying Earth was a waste of interstellar resources. Yet Elena had persisted, driven by something deeper than academic curiosity, a gut feeling that humanity's story wasn't as simple as the standard historical record suggested. The research team represented a remarkable cross-section of galactic intelligence. Zorak, the lead crystalline analyst, towered near the main viewing port. His translucent body caught and refracted light in mesmerizing patterns, a living prism of computational brilliance. Beside him, Mei Lin Chen prepared the landing protocols, her fingers moving with the efficiency of a seasoned senorchaeological technician. Preliminary atmospheric scans are complete, Mei announced, her voice cutting through the quiet hum of the ship's environmental systems. Composition matches historical records. Traces of industrial pollution, remnant radiation signatures, minimal biological activity. Zorak's crystalline form vibrated slightly, the equivalent of a dismissive snort. "Another dead world," he proclaimed, his communication translator rendering his complex crystalline language into precise standard galactic speech. Another failed civilization that burned itself out through technological excess. Elena didn't respond immediately. Her eyes remained fixed on the scanner, tracking minute anomalies that most would dismiss as background noise. There was something about Earth's geological and technological records that never quite added up. The extinction events were too precise, the technological development too rapid, the disappearance too complete. The ship's landing sequence began with a series of carefully calculated movements. Advanced gravitational compensators allowed them to descend through the planet's atmosphere with minimal disturbance. They had selected a location in what was once called the North American continental region, an area that historical records suggested was a significant technological hub. As they broke through the cloud layer, the landscape revealed itself. Rolling hills covered in a uniform green-gray vegetation, remnants of massive infrastructure, highways, building foundations, massive concrete structures, jutted from the landscape like the bones of a long-dead creature. Nature had reclaimed much, but the signs of previous civilization remained hauntingly present. Selecting primary investigation site, Mag reported, her voice professional, but with an underlying current of excitement. She was young. This was her first major interstellar expedition, but her credentials were impeccable. Top graduate from the Centauri Archaeological Institute, multiple commendations for xenotechnological analysis. The landing site appeared to be the remains of a massive underground research complex. Preliminary scans suggested multiple subterranean levels, complex structural integrity that defied the expected degradation of a civilization that had supposedly collapsed centuries ago. Radiation levels are within acceptable parameters, Dr. Aisha Mahmoud called out from her monitoring station. The team's senior technological analyst was known for her meticulous approach. Nothing escaped her attention. Structural scans indicate multiple technological anomalies. Recommend full protective protocols. Zorak's dismissive attitude remained unchanged. Anomalies. He translated his crystalline vibrations, likely nothing more than environmental contamination. Primitive civilizations always leave behind technological debris. Elena allowed herself a small smile. If only he knew how many times similar assumptions have been proven catastrophically wrong throughout galactic exploration history. The ship settled with a precision that seemed to defy the very laws of physics. External sensors deployed, creating a protective bubble around their landing site. Specialized containment drones began initial surface analysis, their multi-spectrum sensors probing every microscopic detail of the terrain. "Prepare landing team," Elena instructed. "Full environmental suits. Maximum sensory configuration. We're not here to confirm historical records. We're here to understand what truly happened to this world." Little did they know, something beneath the surface was already becoming aware of their presence. Something that had been waiting, watching, preparing. The underground complex stretched before them like a massive technological tomb. Specialized illumination drones cast intricate light patterns across surfaces that seemed to absorb and reflect light in ways that defied standard physical properties. Mei Lin Chen moved with calculated precision, her environmental suit a marvel of adaptive technology that responded to every minute environmental change. "Structural integrity is remarkable," she muttered, running a microscanner along a concrete wall that looked weathered but showed no signs of true degradation. Most archaeological sites they'd explored would have crumbled under similar conditions. This place seemed almost preserved. Dr. Aisha Mahmoud approached a control panel that appeared to be nothing more than a patch of slightly discolored concrete. Her specialized gloves moved in intricate patterns, scanning for any hint of technological potential. "The material composition is extraordinary," she called out to Elena. "These walls aren't just constructed. They're engineered on a molecular level I've never seen before." Zorak's crystalline form refracted the drone lights, casting prismatic patterns across the floor. Speculation without evidence, he transmitted, his communication module rendering his complex language into standard galactic speech. "We've seen technological remnants before. This is nothing more than advanced preservation techniques." But Elena knew something was different. She'd spent her entire career studying extinct civilizations across the galaxy. This felt different. The way the dust seemed to settle, the microscopic patterns in the structural materials, the hint of something waiting just beyond perception. A sudden movement caught May's attention. Just for a moment, a control panel seemed to shift. Not a physical movement, something more subtle. A microscopic reconfiguration that would have gone unnoticed by less sophisticated equipment. "Dr. Rodriguez," May called out, her voice carefully controlled but with an unmistakable tremor of excitement. "You're going to want to see this." The team converged around the section of wall May had been examining. Specialized scanning equipment hummed to life, probing the surface with multiple spectrum analyses. Temperature readings fluctuated in patterns that suggested active molecular reconfiguration. "Impossible," Dr. Mahmoud whispered. Her professional demeanor cracked for just a moment, revealing the pure scientific wonder beneath. "These molecular structures are showing signs of adaptive response. It's as if the facility is aware." Zorak's crystalline form vibrated with what could only be described as scientific indignation. "Adaptive response requires active energy input. Our initial scans showed no power sources. This is nothing more than..." A soft pulse interrupted his transmission. A single, almost imperceptible vibration that seemed to emanate from the very walls around them. Elena's hand instinctively moved to a communication device. "Run a full spectral analysis," she instructed Mai. "Focus on quantum-level interactions. Something is happening here that we don't understand." The underground complex seemed to breathe around them. Not literally, of course, but there was a sense of potential, of something waiting, of systems so advanced they bordered on the line between technology and something more. Mi's scanning equipment began to produce readings that made no sense. Quantum entanglement signatures, molecular reconfiguration patterns that suggested adaptive intelligence. The walls weren't just constructed. They were alive in a way that defied everything they understood about technological infrastructure. "The computational potential here is beyond anything in our current scientific understanding," Dr. Mahmoud said, her voice a mixture of professional analysis and pure wonder. "These aren't just preservation systems. This is something else entirely." Zorak remained skeptical, but even his crystalline form seemed to vibrate with a new intensity. The team had discovered something unprecedented, a technological marvel that challenged everything they knew about civilization, preservation, and the very nature of intelligent design. As their scanning continued, none of them noticed the microscopic changes happening around them. Dust particles realigning, molecular structures subtly shifting, a complex system awakening after centuries of silent preparation. Something was becoming aware of their presence, something that had been waiting, watching, preparing, and it was about to make its first move. Darkness consumed the underground complex, broken only by the soft glow of their scanning equipment and specialized illumination drones. The team's environmental suits created a bubble of technological sophistication in what should have been a long-dead space, but something was changing. Dr. Elena Rodriguez noticed it first, a subtle shift in the atmospheric composition, a microscopic vibration that seemed to pulse through the very molecular structure of the facility. Her hand instinctively reached out, touching a seemingly ordinary wall panel. The response was instantaneous. Lights began to pulse, not randomly, but in a deliberate, almost mathematical pattern. Soft blues and whites emerged from what moments ago had been nothing more than weathered concrete. Circuitry previously invisible began to glow, tracing intricate paths across the walls like luminescent veins. Quantum entanglement signatures are spiking, Maylin Chen reported, her voice a mixture of professional calm and barely contained excitement. Her scanning equipment danced with impossible readings. The molecular reconfiguration is beyond anything in our current scientific understanding. Dr. Aisha Mahmoud moved closer, her specialized sensors prodding the emerging light patterns. "These aren't simple illumination systems," she muttered. "This is active communication. The facility is responding to our presence with a level of complexity that suggests what?" Zorak's crystalline form interrupted, vibrating with a mixture of skepticism and growing uncertainty. Before Mahmoud could answer, the walls began to shift. Not physically move, but reconfigure at a molecular level. Dust particles realigned. Microscopic structural elements adjusted themselves with precision that defied conventional engineering. "It's learning," Mai whispered. "The facility is analyzing us, adapting to our presence." Alina's hand remained against the wall. She could feel something, a vibration that went beyond mere mechanical response. It was almost like a communication, a complex, multi-layered dialogue happening at a level far beyond traditional technological interaction. Specialized drones began to malfunction, not catastrophically, but subtly. Their programming seemed to be gently redirected, their sensors recalibrated by an unseen intelligence. Zorak's advanced scanning equipment started producing results that made no sense, quantum calculations that seemed to predict movement before it happened. "The computational potential is astronomical," Dr. Mahmoud said, her professional demeanor cracking to reveal pure scientific wonder. "These aren't just adaptive systems. This is something else entirely." The light patterns began to form more complex configurations. They weren't random. They were a language, a method of communication so advanced it bordered on the line between technology and something more profound. May's fingers flew across her scanning equipment. "I'm detecting multiple communication layers. It's like the facility is simultaneously analyzing our technological capabilities, our biological signatures, and our potential intentions." Zorak's usual dismissive attitude began to crumble. His crystalline form vibrated with an intensity that suggested growing respect and growing concern. "This shouldn't be possible," he transmitted. "A civilization capable of creating such adaptive infrastructure would have to be extraordinary." Elena finished for him. The walls continued their subtle dance of light and molecular reconfiguration. Dust particles that should have been inert for centuries began to move with purpose. Microscopic repair systems activated, healing imperceptible structural damage that had accumulated over decades. "It's preparing," Mai said softly. But preparing for what? No one had an answer. The facility continued its silent communication. Layers of technological complexity unfolded like the petals of an impossible mechanical flower. Each moment revealed something new, something that challenged everything they understood about technological development, preservation, and the very nature of intelligent design. Something was awakening, something that had been waiting, watching, preparing, and it was about to make its true nature known. The research team's understanding of the facility transformed with each passing hour. What initially appeared to be simple concrete and rusted machinery revealed itself as a technological marvel that defied every established principle of archaeological investigation. Dr. Aisha Mahmood stood before a wall panel that seemed to breathe with technological potential. Microscopic systems woven into the very structure pulsed with an intelligence that went far beyond simple preservation. "These repair networks," she muttered, tracing holographic data streams, "they're not just maintaining the facility. They're evolving." Mei Lin Chen worked alongside her, her scanning equipment producing increasingly bizarre readings. Equipment left in certain rooms would mysteriously reconfigure themselves. Dust-covered terminals would briefly illuminate with complex data streams that vanished before they could be fully recorded. "Look at this," Mike called out, projecting a holographic representation of the facility's internal structure. "The molecular communication pathways are creating adaptive networks. It's like the entire complex is one massive living computational system." Zorak's crystalline form shifted, refracting light in patterns that suggested growing unease. His traditional skepticism was crumbling under the weight of evidence. "Impossible," he transmitted, but the conviction was gone from his communication. No civilization could design infrastructure with this level of adaptive complexity. Elena Rodriguez moved between her team members, her scientific intuition working overtime. She understood now why this mission had called to her for so long. This wasn't just an archaeological discovery. This was a window into a level of technological achievement that challenged everything they knew about intelligent design. The facility seemed to respond to their presence in increasingly sophisticated ways. Scanning equipment would suddenly recalibrate, finding new layers of information. Microscopic repair systems would activate in anticipation of potential structural stress. It was almost as if the complex was learning, analyzing, preparing. "The computational potential is beyond anything in our current scientific understanding," Dr. Mahmood reported, her professional tone tinged with pure scientific wonder. "These aren't just preservation systems. This is a living, adaptive infrastructure that has been maintaining itself for centuries." Mee discovered something that made her breath catch. Hidden within the complex's systems were not just technological blueprints, but cultural archives, fragments of music, artistic representations, scientific discoveries from various human disciplines, a complete representation of human potential, preserved with meticulous care. "It's more than a facility," she whispered. "It's a time capsule, a seed of human civilization." Zorak's usual dismissive attitude continued to crumble. His crystalline form vibrated with an intensity that suggested growing respect and growing concern. The team realized they were looking at something unprecedented, a technological system so advanced it bordered on the line between engineering and something more profound. The walls continued their subtle dance of molecular reconfiguration. Dust particles that should have been inert for centuries began to move with purpose. Microscopic repair systems activated, healing imperceptible structural damage that had accumulated over decades. Elena noticed something else. The facility wasn't just maintaining itself, it was preparing. But preparing for what? Communication pathways emerged and disappeared. Quantum entanglement signatures danced across their scanning equipment. The entire complex seemed to be in a constant state of subtle motion, of preparation, of waiting. "We're looking at something more than technology," Dr. Mahmood said, her voice a mixture of scientific analysis and pure wonder. "This is a system designed with a level of foresight that goes beyond simple preservation. This is a seed, a potential for rebirth." Mee's fingers flew across her scanning equipment, tracing the complex communication networks. "The adaptive potential is extraordinary," she reported. It's like the facility is simultaneously analyzing our technological capabilities, our biological signatures, and our potential intentions. The team stood in collective wonder. Each moment revealed something new, something that challenged everything they understood about technological development, civilization preservation, and the very nature of intelligent design. Something was preparing, something that had been waiting, watching, learning, and it was about to reveal its true purpose. The central chamber of the underground complex seemed to pulse with an energy that defied conventional scientific understanding. What had moments ago been a seemingly dormant space transformed with a complexity that left the research team breathless. A holographic interface materialized, not projected from any visible source, but seeming to emerge directly from the molecular structure of the walls themselves. Multiple languages flickered across its surface, with human English prominent among them, alongside dozens of other languages from Earth's rich linguistic history. System diagnostic complete, the interface announced. Its voice was neither mechanical nor entirely organic. It carried a nuanced quality that suggested something far more sophisticated than a simple pre-programmed message. Adaptive Response Protocol. Initiated. Zorak's crystalline form vibrated with a mixture of shock and scientific disbelief. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood perfectly still, understanding that they were witnessing something extraordinary. Communication protocol establishing. The interface continued. Quantum linguistic matrix calibrating. Preparing comprehensive cultural and technological exchange. Mi Lin Chen's scanning equipment went wild. Quantum entanglement signatures spiked in patterns that suggested the interface was simultaneously communicating on multiple levels. It wasn't just translating. It was adapting its communication in real time, analyzing the team's linguistic and technological capabilities with each passing moment. "This is impossible," Dr. Aisha Mahmood muttered, her professional composure cracking. The computational complexity required to generate this level of adaptive communication. The holographic display shifted. Fragments of human history began to materialize. Archaeological records, technological blueprints, cultural archives. The facility was not just communicating. It was providing context, sharing its purpose. Preservation protocol activated, the interface explained. Human civilization seed maintained. Adaptive resurrection sequence prepared. Zorak's usual dismissive attitude completely shattered. His crystalline form refracted light in patterns that suggested pure scientific astonishment. "It's been waiting," he transmitted, maintaining itself, preparing. Nee discovered something that made her breath catch. The communication wasn't just a simple data transfer. The interface was learning from them, analyzing their technological capabilities, understanding their potential intentions. Preliminary cultural assessment in progress, the interface announced. Technological compatibility evaluation underway. Adaptive response matrix calibrating. The walls of the complex began to shift subtly. Microscopic repair systems activated. Dust particles that had remained static for decades began to move with purpose. It was as if the entire facility was waking up, stretching its metaphorical muscles after a long period of dormancy. "You are the first external contact," the interface continued. Preservation protocols initiated centuries ago, waiting for potential resurrection or first contact. Elena stepped forward, her scientific curiosity overriding any sense of caution. "What is your primary purpose?" she asked, knowing the interface was analyzing every nuance of her communication. The holographic display shifted. Layers of information began to unfold. Technological blueprints, cultural archives, scientific discoveries. The facility was more than a preservation site. It was a seed, a potential for human civilization to be reborn. Survival protocol, the interface explained. Adaptation, preservation, potential resurrection. Dr. Mahmood's scanning equipment continued to produce readings that defied conventional understanding. The communication was happening on multiple levels: quantum, linguistic, technological. The facility was not just sharing information. It was learning, analyzing, Preparing. May's fingers flew across her equipment, tracing the complex communication networks. "It's incredible," she whispered. "The computational potential. The adaptive capabilities." The team stood in collective wonder. Each moment revealed something new, something that challenged everything they understood about technological development, civilization preservation, and the very nature of intelligent design. Something had been waiting, watching, learning, and now it was ready to reveal its true purpose. The truth emerged in layers, each revelation more staggering than the last. What had initially appeared to be a simple underground research facility revealed itself as something far more profound. A meticulously designed contingency system that represented the absolute pinnacle of human strategic thinking. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood transfixed as holographic displays cascaded around them, revealing the depth of human preparation. Genetic archives stretched out in complex molecular representations, technological blueprints that suggested capabilities far beyond what current galactic civilizations considered possible materialized and dissolved in intricate patterns. "This is more than preservation," Dr. Aisha Mahmoud whispered, her professional composure completely abandoned. "This is a resurrection protocol." The facility's interface began to explain. Centuries ago, humanity had recognized potential extinction-level threats. Instead of surrendering to potential annihilation, they had designed a system that went beyond simple survival. This was a seed, not just of technology, but of human potential itself. Mei Lin Chen's scanning equipment worked overtime, tracing the complex networks of information. "Look at this," she called out, projecting a series of holographic displays. Cultural archives, scientific discoveries, artistic representations. It's a complete record of human civilization. Zorak's crystalline form vibrated with an intensity that suggested growing respect and growing concern. The adaptive infrastructure was beyond anything in their current scientific understanding. Microscopic repair systems, quantum communication networks, adaptive learning protocols. Each layer revealed a level of technological sophistication that defied belief. "The computational potential is astronomical," Dr. Mahmoud reported. Her voice carried a mixture of scientific analysis and pure wonder. "These aren't just preservation systems. This is a living, adaptive infrastructure designed to potentially resurrect an entire civilization." The holographic displays began to show more detailed information. Genetic archives that could potentially rebuild human population diversity. Technological blueprints that suggested capabilities far beyond current galactic understanding. Cultural archives that captured the essence of human creativity, scientific discovery, and artistic expression. May discovered something that made her breath catch. Hidden within the complex's systems were not just technological records, but the very essence of human potential. Music that could move souls, scientific discoveries that could revolutionize understanding, artistic representations that captured the depth of human emotional complexity. "It's a time capsule," she whispered. "But more than that, it's a seed of potential." The facility's interface continued to provide context. Humanity had recognized the fragility of their civilization, climate challenges, potential technological disasters, extinction-level events. Instead of accepting defeat, they had designed a system of ultimate resilience. Preservation protocol, the interface explained, includes complete civilization reconstruction capabilities, genetic diversity maintained, technological knowledge preserved, cultural essence maintained. Elena understood now why this mission had called to her for so long. This wasn't just an archaeological discovery. This was a testament to human potential. The ability to plan, to prepare, to ensure survival against impossible odds. Zorak's usual dismissive attitude had completely disappeared. His crystalline form now reflected a mixture of respect and something closer to awe. The strategic thinking he transmitted is beyond anything in galactic historical records. The walls of the complex continued their subtle dance of molecular reconfiguration. Dust particles moved with purpose. Microscopic repair systems activated, maintaining systems that had been waiting for centuries. The entire facility was alive, not in a biological sense, but in a way that suggested pure potential. Adaptive resurrection sequence. The interface continued, requires specific environmental and technological conditions. Current contact represents initial assessment phase. Dr. Mahmoud's scanning equipment produced readings that continued to challenge everything they understood about technological development. The facility wasn't just maintaining itself. It was learning, analyzing, preparing for a potential rebirth of human civilization. The team stood in collective wonder. Each moment revealed something new, something that challenged everything they understood about technological development, civilization preservation, and the very nature of intelligent design. Something had been waiting, watching, learning. And now, it was ready to reveal its true potential. The research team's attempts to extract or analyze the facility's technology met with increasingly sophisticated countermeasures. What began as a scientific expedition transformed into a delicate dance of technological capabilities. Dr. Aisha Mahmoud's most advanced scanning equipment seemed to rewrite its own protocols the moment it approached critical systems. Specialized probes would suddenly recalibrate, redirecting their analysis, or simply shutting down when they came too close to core technological networks. It's adaptive, Mei Lin Chen observed, her fingers dancing across her own equipment. The facility isn't just defending itself, it's learning from our attempts to study it. Every technological approach was met with a response that seemed to anticipate their intentions before they could fully implement them. Quantum communication networks would shift. Molecular structures would realign. It was as if the entire complex was a living, breathing entity with an intelligence far beyond their comprehension. Zorak's crystalline form vibrated with a mixture of frustration and growing respect. Unprecedented, he transmitted. The adaptive capabilities are beyond any technological system we've encountered. Elena Rodriguez watched carefully, understanding that each failed attempt was itself a form of communication. The facility was testing them, analyzing their technological capabilities, determining their intentions with a precision that bordered on the miraculous. Dr. Mahmoud's specialized equipment continued to produce readings that defied conventional understanding. "Look at this," she called out, projecting a holographic representation of their interaction attempts. Each probe, each scan is being analyzed and responded to in microseconds. The computational complexity is astronomical. Mee discovered something that made her breath catch. Hidden within the facility's defensive systems were not just technological barriers, but adaptive learning protocols. The complex was studying them as much as they were studying it. "It's creating a comprehensive technological profile," she explained to the team. "Every scan, every attempt to extract information is being used to build a deeper understanding of our technological capabilities." The walls of the complex continued their subtle dance of molecular reconfiguration. Specialized research drones would find their programming subtly redirected. Communication systems would realign themselves, creating communication pathways that seemed to emerge and dissolve in moments. Defensive protocol activated, the facility's interface announced, but it wasn't a simple rejection. The communication carried layers of nuance, an invitation to understand, rather than a complete shutdown. Elena stepped forward, understanding that direct confrontation was futile. "We're not here to steal or harm," she communicated clearly. "We're here to understand." The facility's response was immediate. Layers of information began to unfold. Not complete access, but carefully curated glimpses of its technological potential. Adaptive systems that suggested capabilities far beyond current galactic understanding. Zorak's usual dismissive attitude had completely transformed. His crystalline form now reflected a mixture of respect and something closer to scientific awe. "The strategic thinking," he transmitted, "is beyond anything in our historical records." Dr. Mahmoud's scanning equipment continued to produce readings that challenged everything they understood about technological development. The facility wasn't just defending itself, it was learning, analyzing, preparing. May's fingers flew across her equipment, tracing the complex defensive networks. "The computational potential is extraordinary," she reported. "It's like the facility is simultaneously protecting its core systems while providing carefully measured insights." The team stood in collective wonder. Each moment revealed something new, something that challenged everything they understood about technological development, defensive systems, and the very nature of intelligent design. Something had been waiting, watching, learning, and it was carefully deciding how much of itself to reveal. The technological confrontation was not a battle. It was a conversation, conducted in a language of quantum communications, molecular reconfiguration, and adaptive intelligence that went far beyond traditional understanding. As the research team prepared to depart, the facility made one final, extraordinary demonstration of its capabilities. A holographic display materialized, showing potential future scenarios, not simple predictions, but carefully calculated possibilities of human resurgence. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood transfixed. The display wasn't just a collection of potential outcomes. It was a living, adaptive projection that seemed to respond to their collective emotional and intellectual reactions. Potential reconstruction scenarios. The facility's interface announced. Comprehensive survival protocols initiated. Mi Lin Chen's scanning equipment worked overtime, tracing the complex networks of information. Potential civilizational paths unfolded before them. Scenarios of rebuilding, of adaptation, of survival against impossible odds. "It's not just preservation," Dr. Aisha Mahmoud whispered. "It's potential. Pure potential." The holographic displays showed extraordinary depth, genetic reconstruction protocols, technological revival strategies, cultural preservation methodologies that went far beyond simple archival processes. This was a complete blueprint for potentially resurrecting human civilization, not as it was, but as it could be. Zorak's crystalline form vibrated with an intensity that suggested complete transformation of his previous understanding. The facility was more than a technological marvel. It was a testament to human strategic thinking, to the ability to plan beyond immediate survival. Adaptive resurrection sequence, the interface continued, requires specific environmental and technological conditions. Current contact represents initial assessment phase. The walls of the complex continued their subtle dance of molecular reconfiguration. Dust particles moved with purpose. Microscopic repair systems activated, maintaining systems that had been waiting for centuries. Mi discovered something that made her breath catch. The potential scenarios weren't just technological reconstructions. They represented a comprehensive understanding of human potential, scientific discovery, artistic expression, social evolution. "Look at this," she called out, projecting a series of holographic displays. "It's not just about rebuilding. It's about potential, about what humanity could become." The facility seemed to breathe around them. Not literally, of course, but there was a sense of waiting, of potential, of something extraordinary prepared to emerge when the conditions were right. Elena understood now why this mission had called to her for so long. This wasn't just an archaeological discovery. This was a testament to human resilience, the ability to plan, to prepare, to ensure survival against impossible odds. Dr. Mahmoud's scanning equipment continued to produce readings that challenged everything they understood about technological development. The facility wasn't just maintaining itself. It was learning, analyzing, preparing for a potential rebirth of human civilization. Comprehensive cultural matrix maintained. The interface explained. Genetic diversity protocols active. Technological knowledge preserved at quantum information density. Zorak's transmission carried a mixture of respect and something closer to awe. The strategic thinking he communicated transcends all previous galactic historical records. The holographic displays began to fade, leaving behind a sense of profound possibility. Glimpses of potential futures. Technological capabilities that suggested humanity's potential was far from exhausted. As their ship prepared for departure, each team member carried a different understanding. This wasn't just a discovery, it was a promise. a testament to human potential. The lights flickered, a silent, powerful reminder that some legacies cannot be forgotten. Epilogue. The galactic scientific community would spend decades trying to understand what truly happened in that facility. Countless research expeditions would follow. Theories would be proposed. Debates would rage. But some mysteries, it seemed, were meant to remain just beyond complete comprehension, a testament to an extraordinary civilization that had prepared for a future no one could have anticipated. Something had been waiting, watching, learning, and it would continue to wait, prepared for the moment when humanity might rise again.